I'm here with Justin at NAPE at the Bitcoin Mining Pavilion, first time ever, and excited to talk to Justin about his firm, Martin Legal Group, and the work they're doing with Bitcoin miners. Justin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Christine. I'm happy to be here.
And you didn't have to come too far, right? You're a Houston guy.
I'm a Houston guy. I live in the Woodlands, and so yeah, this is easy trip for me. And I'm a oil and gas guy by background, so NAPE is like a staple that
So this
we
is
come
not
to.
your first NAPE.
Not my first NAPE, thankfully. My first NAPEs I can't even tell you about because I don't remember part of them because she tend to party a little bit on the first few ones you come to. So yeah, I've forgotten about the first NAPEs. The only thing I remembered is that I don't want to repeat performance of my first NAPEs.
Got it.
Yes, I'm a veteran at this point.
I know Martin Legal Group was sponsoring a party last night with the Bitcoin Energy people.
We did. Yeah, I was over at Hearsay on the Green. We did it with Choya Petroleum, Gideon Powell's group. They're a client of ours also. But yeah, it was good. Good turnout. There was a lot of the Dallas folks did not get to come because of the ice and what they had. But
yeah,
it was great. I thought it was a good turnout, and a Bitcoin community is such a small community still that it's nice to kind of have little get-togethers like this, and you hang out with all your buddies at the same time. I say buddies, a lot of them are clients too, but they are that's the nice part about Bitcoin is a lot of like-minded people and a lot of people that have kind of the same opinion about stuff, same thought processes, and just a good group of people to be around.
absolutely. I found that myself. There are people that are thinking about the world, thinking about what's going on with the economy, and just genuinely interesting, thoughtful people.
I agree. And Houston in general has really cool people, but like the Bitcoin community overall, I'm like, man, it's, especially in Houston, it's a really, really strong one. And the Houston Bitcoin meetups that we've been putting on, I think is one of the best ones in the country. But it just, you see those people over and over show up to these same type of events, and it's like, man, the passion that a lot of the people have about it, it's just nice to see, and makes you feel like it's not going to go anywhere.
Absolutely. And that's the one that Unchained puts on in the car garage.
Yeah, Alara Garage. It's a cool little setup too.
I made the pilgrimage down from DFW area for one of them, but...
And you know, the guy who owns that garage is a big oil and gas guy. He was actually my former boss, Frank Suru. I've talked to him a little bit about Bitcoin, trying to get him on board with it. He's not against it. He's open to it, but he's still kind of like most of the oil and gas industry still. It's still very early, and they haven't quite, made their mind up about how they feel, how they incorporate that into their everyday business. But that's why things like this are important, that people get out and educate the oil and gas industry to
orange pilling, but the people that you know and the industry that you know. So let's talk about that a little bit. So tell us what Martin Legal Group is working on, why you're at an event like this.
Yeah. So, well, obviously there's the business development and networking aspect that comes with NAPE, because we are an oil and gas firm as well.
Okay.
But we also, like, what I've focused primarily on is Bitcoin mining deals and opportunities and issues. And so a lot of our clients are here, Giga, Choya, basically all of them. 10 Net Zero, a lot of these groups are out here. So it's nice to come out and kind of help develop the Bitcoin kind of mining presence with the oil and gas companies, but also, come out here and see some of our old oil and gas clients as well. So yeah, a lot of what we're working on too, though, we're not just working on like legal issues that we're responding to. We're actually putting some deals together in conjunction with clients and kind of drumming up new business. And frankly, orange pilling, some of the other companies we might be working with, or even other governments of different countries, and working on international deals. So yeah, we've kind of gotten our finger into a lot of different areas, and continue to try to develop that side of our practice, because there's not very many people doing it. And so we're one of the first ones that have a strong group of Bitcoin mining companies as clients, and making it a core part of our business. So, it's kind of an open playbook of how it's going to go, but we're continuing to try to develop it. And we're actually branching out and looking at trying to build like an advisory type company that can help market deals for miners or for energy producers, help source deals for people, and kind of put together some economic models so they can kind of see basically a group that would go and market deals for miners. And I think it's something that's needed in the industry, and it would kind of formalize that process and get deal flow going a lot more. I mean, it is a very underdeveloped industry right now, and I think that more groups that have people coming from like the oil and gas space could come in and really start developing like other areas in the business that will make it more, I don't know, more attractive for like institutional level investors to get in.
Yeah. And that you said there's not a lot of people doing it. And I think that's probably because you have to have several competencies, right? So someone like your group is attractive because you understand oil and gas, but you're also Bitcoiner. So you understand that space and how mining works. Tell us a little bit about your background in oil gas and how you got to the Bitcoin space. How did you get orange pills, Justin?
It's a wild story, but so I started in oil and gas. I mean, the whole full background. I've had a lot of different jobs, right? Before I went to law school and then got out of that and started my oil and gas career. But once I got out of law school, I went to Anadarko Petroleum, worked as a landman there, in-house landman, and obviously it's oil and gas. And so that was kind of where I got a lot of knowledge on the oil and gas side and kind of how things work. Anadarko did a great job kind of teaching all the different disciplines and all that. So I got a really good, solid education there. Left and went to another oil and gas operator, Indigo Minerals, which is Frank Suter's company, that a Lara Garage owner. Went there for a while, and then I got in the private equity side and started raising my own money and started a couple different oil and gas companies that were private equity backed. Did well with those, and we established a really nice position at the second one in Wyoming. And while I was there, we drilled kind of a wildcat well that we couldn't get a pipeline into for any type of economic rate. And so the only real option that made sense was putting a Bitcoin mine out there. And I had seen an article about Steve Barber doing something off vented gas up in Canada with upstream data.
Yep.
And I just thought that was a really good idea, and I thought it'd be something that I wanted to, kind of look into more, and realized that was probably the best option to get rid of our flare gas in time for the commission hearing we had. And so we ended up getting one of those put on our site, and over time I just was kind of doing some back calculation and realized like this is some pretty solid money on a per MCF basis when you break it down, regardless of like Bitcoin's price appreciation that I think you and I obviously believe in over time. Regardless of that, just on that current spot price, it was about $7 an M. And so we were getting about $1 an M selling our gas. And so that really gave me the kind of thought of like, man, we could raise money on this and go monetize it. And so that's how I got going in it, and ended up leaving that Century Oil and Gas, which was that Wyoming operator, and started J Energy after we raised some money and built out our J Energy company in Wyoming. We became the largest miner in the state of Wyoming, and it just kind of grew from there, and then closed a big deal in Texas with TPL, which is another kind of staple oil and gas company. They're a landowner, the largest landowner in the state of Texas, but they're very closely associated with oil and gas. Most of the revenues are derived from oil and gas surface activities, and so I think that was a really good sign for other groups to see a visible public company be open to doing some Bitcoin mining deals.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave me a lot of, I guess, deal flow opportunities. And I realized that, man, this would be a great opportunity to kind of go back into the legal world and use my knowledge and experience from what I'd done and kind of work with other clients and people that want to get into it. And Martin Legal Group, Brandon Martin, who's the principal over there, he's really the only other attorney that's done a lot of Bitcoin deals. And so I just thought it was a great opportunity when he approached me about it, and we teamed up, and I feel like we've done really well and excited about the future for it.
What a great story, because you have experience.
Sorry it was long. I long-winded that one, didn't I?
It's a great story because you have experience in all of it. You've been there for every part of it. You've been a landman. You've been an investor. You've been monetizing, and just understand the potential for monetizing the stranded, which you can't get anywhere else. Maybe you're flaring it. You've got mitigation problems, even though it's taking care of 91% of it. There's still that problem. So I'm sure that it just makes you just a valuable resource for anyone. It sounds like
Right.
oil fields come to you, people, miners looking
Right.
to, like, just everyone's. You're becoming quite known in the space as the Bitcoin mining lawyer. You even have a website now. You got
We
a
do.
domain. What is this?
Bitcoinfirm.io, and
Bitcoinfirm.io.
we also have our regular website, Martin Legal Group. But yeah, that's our kind of Bitcoin firm website address. And so if you're looking for Bitcoin lawyers, that's probably going to pop up pretty early on. But
Fantastic.
it's the thing that why these two go together so well is they literally are the same business model. And I've said this a lot on different things I've talked on and on our show, but oil and gas is the easiest way I boil it down to when I go talk to oil and gas companies is these business models are the same. Instead of a wellbore that produces hydrocarbons that you sell for USD, you have got an ASIC computer that is producing terahash that you sell for Bitcoin. But in both industries, you want to be the lowest cost operator to produce a barrel, and you want to be the lowest cost operator to produce a Bitcoin. And so with those in mind, like driving down your LOE, which LOE is lease operating expenses, but it's not a synonymous term with in oil or in Bitcoin, but it's basically the same thing as drive your operating costs down as low as possible and be the lowest cost producer to produce your product that you want to sell. And so it's a similar business model that seems so foreign to a lot of the companies, even though it's literally identical. And once I sit down with a lot of those companies, kind of walk through it, I think they see it. And that's why we've had some success. So yeah, it does go back to just having that oil and gas background and understanding how similar these industries are and how they kind of correlate to each other.
So it sounds like that a lot of what you do is education.
Really,
right?
yeah,
And helping
is.
people understand, hey, the one with the lowest cost of power wins, and it's no different, and helping them understand the potential for this. So, and I know that you've been involved with some new educational endeavors lately, right? You have a new podcast.
So, a new podcast, yeah. My daughter makes fun of me because she says I'm a podcast bro now.
Are you an influencer now?
No, I'm not an influencer. Yeah, nobody wants to follow my social media stuff. I'm boring. So, but yeah, the podcast has been great. It's been a lot of fun. Jake Corley and the guys at Digital Wildcatters have obviously helped put that together.
The name of the podcast and what it addresses is
Energizing Bitcoin.
Energizing Bitcoin.
And Jake Corley is co-host with me, and yeah, we really try to focus on just kind of bringing attention to the different miners in the space and the different issues that arise. We had a show kind of dedicated to El Salvador and kind of the year in review of the Bitcoin law, and we had another show with Marshall Long doing the work in Africa that he's doing, and so things like that. We're just trying to highlight kind of the stories that the miners have impact on or are involved with, and people don't realize yet like how valuable Bitcoin mining is, not just from a economic standpoint, but for what it can do for bringing power to people that don't have it and changing like the lifestyles of people and kind of improving the quality of life for a lot of people around the world that we can take for granted how easily it is for us to go flip on the light switch. And there's a lot of people in the world that do not have that luxury. And so Bitcoin mining is literally bringing power to people that don't have it currently and helping develop grid resiliency around the world. So it's something that people don't think of when they hear the word Bitcoin or Bitcoin mining, but it is to me the most intrinsically important thing that it brings. And it's a real thing. It's not rhetoric. It's a real It's a real thing that is happening around the world.
The capacity to go out and find these stranded resources, a waterfall, before you had to be at a port or on a railroad way, but the capacity to go and bring industry to these stranded resources and, economy to those places.
Well, because the end user you get a chicken or egg issue for a lot of these countries, like El Salvador, for instance. Their GDP is not very high. We can all look at what it is. And so making a decision to deploy a large sum of that GDP to, grid infrastructure in an area where there's nobody living there yet.
Right. You're talking about building out the pipeline out that way to sell it
building
back.
out grid infrastructure.
Oh,
but,
sure. The grid entirely.
Whatever form of energy you might be talking about, it doesn't matter. But like just getting a
lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And so deploying that much capital out of your country's GDP is a big deal, and it's hard to make that justifiable if you don't have any revenue that's going to replace that coming from this. And so
Right.
that's where Bitcoin mining really steps in. It's like these stranded assets, like you mentioned. Bitcoin mining can be like the end user purchaser of that power. And so then it changes it from like, we don't have anybody to buy this energy from us. We can't justify putting it in there, to all of a sudden you have a buyer 24/7 that's ready to purchase that power, allows you to generate some revenue from your investment into the infrastructure, and allows people then to start moving into these areas where you can then divert the power and from the Bitcoin mine and send it to the commercial or residential uses. So that's the stuff that I really wish people would understand more and like dig down into, because again, I do think I love America, but like we can take things for granted because we have it so nice here, and especially compared to a lot of places around the world, a lot of places in our backyard. El Salvador's like a 2.5 hour flight away. So, it's not, this isn't something that's happening on the other side of the world. It's happening, in our backyard.
And are you doing a lot of international work, or are you?
We are actually. In fact, I got a trip to the Middle East Saturday. I'll be gone for about a week, a couple different countries over there with some friends of yours, and I don't want to put their business out there, but yeah, so we got some opportunities in the Middle East that we're going to be working on, and some other ones in South America, and so yeah, we've got a lot of ones that we're working on down and all over the place. And it's just crazy to think about, like, just a few years ago, I was buying Bitcoin. I've always been buying Bitcoin since about 2014, but getting into the mining side, like the opportunities that have opened up to me to get to travel and go meet people and prime ministers and presidents and royal family members, it's wild. And but it's all because the decision to jump into some Bitcoin mining opportunities, and it's just, you never know where God's going to take things, and it's wild. So it's cool. I'm happy about it.
Well, clearly you're passionate about it, and so if people want to hear more from you, even apart from the legal services, you've got your podcast, but then you've got an upcoming event.
Right. We do Empower Bitcoin Conference. It's here in Houston, March 8th, March 9th. It's Digital Wildcatters puts that on. Last year was the first one, but I think even last year really established itself as the best Bitcoin mining conference I think there is in the country. I've been to basically all of them and participated in basically all of them. And it is, to me, hands down, it's the best one. And so I encourage everybody to get out there. It's very educational. You get some of the biggest and best minds in Bitcoin mining coming to it. And I'd encourage everybody to check it out.
And that's taking place near here.
It is.
In
It's
Houston.
over at the 713 Music Hall, and it's a new venue. They did it at 8th Wonder last year, moved over to 713 this year. And it's going to be great. I mean, it's a great venue. I've been there for a concert, so it's going to be fun and very educational. Everybody will enjoy it. I did not hear any complaints last year from anyone about that conference. So highly recommend everybody check it out.
Wonderful. I hope to be there myself.
Yeah. Oh, you better be. Come on, Christine. You gotta go.
Oh my goodness. Well, Justin, thank you so much for taking the time from your world travels to come and join us today.
No problem. I enjoyed it. I love you guys. So any time I would love to sit down and chat with you guys. So appreciate it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. And to all our subscribers, subscribe to get more content like this and hear more about the amazing things that are going on in this space.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.